Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa habibina wa syafi'ina wa nuri qulubina wa qurrati a'yunina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة عن الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك العلم لدني مشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. From the مقدمة حضرمية في فقه السادة الشافعية من الشيخ الإمام عبد الله بن عبد الرحمن بالفقيه الحضرمي. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us by him. Ayat tu he said tayammum ay babu tayammum ke faslun يتيمم المحدث والجنب لفقد الماء والبرد والمرض. Now, a person who is in a state of ritual impurity, hadath, it is permissible for him to perform dry ablution, which is tayammum, if water is unavailable or cold temperature, or if the person is unwell. Basically, this whole thing can be summarized to mean when water is not usable. Okay, right? If or not when, if right, when water is not usable, right? So not usable either by being unavailable, or it's too cold, or the skin can't take it. Okay, so the whole ring of tayammum is because water cannot be used. In whatever reason that the water cannot be used. We're going back to the word tayammum. Right? Tayammum in the language, right? It means al-qasd in the Arabic language. Al-qasd, which means to intend, to aim, right? Or intend. Right, to aim or to intend. Right, and you will say, you find in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wala yatayammama. Right, Allah says in the Quran, and do not intend to give in sadaqah what you yourself will not accept. It's in the Quran. The word that is used is tayammama, which means don't aim to give in sadaqah what you yourself will not accept. Give what is good in sadaqah. Don't give what is terrible in sadaqah that you yourself won't even accept it yourself, and give to other people. That kind of thing, and it's so terrible the state that you yourself won't even accept it. Don't give it out in sadaqah. They're just humiliating the poor even more. Right. So the Sharia, right? The Sharia meaning of tayammum, right? It is to bring. Right, to bring dirt or sand, I would sand. Okay, the word here is turab in Arabic. To bring sand, right, to the face and arms, right, under specific conditions, laws and conditions. Okay, that is basically what tayammum is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verse of tayammum during one of the battles that Rasulullah went out on with the Sahaba, and it was because of Sayyidah Aisha that the verse came down. And the story is that during this battle, she was wearing a necklace that she had borrowed from her sister. Okay, it was a necklace from her sister she borrowed. It was to be pretty for Rasulullah. And then, but the necklace, the clasp was loose, right? So when they actually rested for in the journey, they rested, the necklace fell off. And they couldn't find it, and she banged it because it's this necklace, not her necklace. So she asked Rasulullah to go and look for a necklace. So Rasulullah had the entire army mobilized to look for a necklace. So they all lodged a complaint, saying Aisha. She also feel bad. Right, so then found out eventually the necklace was under the camel. Camel sat on the necklace. Under her own camel. Under her very own camel. So when the camel got up, the necklace down there under the camel. Right, so then okay lah. So the story got so because of this incident, they didn't reach where they were supposed to reach on time. They had like a program, and it was basically, if you move at this speed, you will reach to this place with wells, and then you can settle there. But because of this necklace problem, right, they were delayed, and so before they couldn't reach the next destination before sunset. So they were short off an amount of distance before they could reach the wells. So it's very important, when it comes to land travel, because you're aiming spots, mashallah. When I was traveling in Tarim, from Tarim to Amman, and I was just thinking, because I was in the group, and I was managing the group, and the bus driver who was going to drive us from Tarim to Amman, he said that we must leave immediately after Isha. He said, pray Isha or Maghrib. Pray Maghrib and leave immediately after Maghrib. Must. We have to leave immediately after Maghrib. We can't delay. And then in my mind I was thinking, why? Why can't we delay? Because technically, the flight is in 3 days. The flight at Oman is in 3 days. So even if you arrive Oman late, right, our flight is later on anyway. Can. Like we're not chasing a flight. I was thinking that to myself. We're not chasing a flight. We're just going on a bus. It's our own bus, technically. Right, so even if you're delayed, like for example, if you're going to KL, for example, even if you're delayed, it doesn't matter. There's no flight you're going to catch. You're just going to drive a car up to KL. So if you're delayed, you just arrive late lah. That's all. I mean, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself, what's the problem? Right, if let's say we were delayed a little bit more, I pray Isha in Tarim, and then go after Isha. Right, so and then I learned my lesson now because from Tarim to Oman you drive across the empty quarter. It's desert all the way, and desert, there's no stops at all the way. Very rare you'll find a stop. It's not like Malaysia, every now and then ada kiosk. From Singapore to Malaysia KL, every now and then if want to eat or not, go to Lucky Donuts, go and eat or not. I mean every few kilometers you find a kiosk. Every few kilometers you find a rest stop. From Yemen to Oman, you can travel for 5 hours flat and there is no rest stop. Or 6 hours flat, no, not a single rest stop. It's desert. Around you is desert. So I learned my lesson now because on the bus, right? I began to see how come we're not when are we going to reach the next stop? Because we're getting close to Subo, and we're getting close to Subo already. And I asked the driver how much longer to the next stop. Then he says maybe about 4 hours, 5 hours. And I was like, what? And I said, dah subuh dah. It's really, you can see the dawn. The light of dawn has risen. I said, it's really subuh. And he says, yeah, but there's nowhere to stop. He said, there's nowhere to stop. We're in the middle of a desert. There's nowhere to stop. Right? There's no hotel. There is nothing lah. You see that, you will see sand. He said, if you stop, it's just sand. And then so of course subuh came in, and then I was kind of panicking because like where to pray subuh, and then I said to him, and the whole bus was asleep. All of the people were, because I'm in charge. It's my own bawa kan. I brought people on a trip, right? So I mean I'm responsible lah. It's my responsibility, and I didn't rush them. When the bus driver said after Maghrib straight away, I didn't take it seriously. My fault also. Like I thought that why must rush? Kan? I was like, not running because when we reach Oman, we're just going to rest the entire day. The first day in Oman is rest day. So even if we reach late pun, what's the problem, right? The problem is you will not reach a checkpoint by subuh. That's the problem. If you left at Maghrib, you will reach a checkpoint between Tarim and Oman by subuh, and you can pray your subuh at the checkpoint. Checkpoint kat musola. That's the problem. I didn't realize that. So and the full stretch on the desert where there's nothing until the checkpoint. A good 5 hours of nothing until the checkpoint. No one lives there. There's nobody there. Right. So when I saw that Fajr, I was awake the entire time. I didn't sleep, and I saw the whole bus asleep. Most of them were asleep in the bus. Exhaustion lah. It's a 13-hour drive, or about more than that. And from time to Oman, about almost 15-hour drive. So I asked the bus driver. Bus driver said it's a good 4 hours more, right, before the checkpoint. And I said, we're going to pray subuh. Then he said, pray in the bus. I sit down and pray in the bus. And I said, what? And he says, no, pray in the bus, there's no choice. And I said, no, stop by the side. And then he said, no, you can't stop by the side, there's nowhere to stop. You're in wilderness, do you understand that? And I said, no, stop by the side. I actually argued with him. And then I was like, no, I was talking I said to my husband, I don't care, we're going to pray subuh on the ground. We're not in the air where we can't stop. We're in the bus. You can stop and you can stand and pray properly. I don't want to help account for all those people's subuh style. You know, it's all my fault, kan? So I said to my husband, I'm gonna insist. I'm gonna insist on the bus driver. Of course, he didn't argue with me now. I just insisted a few times. He stopped. I'll be like, pull over. And then he was like, where? The road is one road. It's not even two roads now. It's one road. Right? Whenever another vehicle comes, they will just squeeze past each other. That's all they have. They're a third world country. It's in Yemen, right? So then if you go off the road, you go into soft sand. Do you understand that? It's not a safe thing to do. And I said, no, just find a place. Come, bismillah. Find a place. If you see hard rock by the side of the road, stop on the hard rock. and he did that. He actually found some hard rock by the side of the road. And then it's not road, it's rock. But it's not soft sand. Because soft sand, the bus will go in, they cannot come out. Dangerous, all dangerous things happen. We all don't know this kind of situation, so you don't know. We all don't know. This is real. It's real. These things, right? So he found hard rock by the side of the road. He stopped the bus there. I woke up the whole bus. Everybody get up, keluar, sembahyang subuh. Right? Everybody go out, pray subuh. So I started having no wudu because I slept in the bus, slept soundly in the bus. They moved here, moved there, all no wudu, no toilet. So now what? Right, we have some bottles. Take your wudu if you can. If you run out of water, tayammum. What else to do? You look for as far as I can see. You can't find water. It's sand. It's cold and someone was cold. So we took the water from the bus. We had all this packed up water, mineral water. Take your wudu. Take a minimum wudu. Go and pray 2 rakats. And we get back onto the bus, because you can't stay here for too long. It's wilderness. It's really wilderness. Right, so I think we got the whole bus, but alhamdulillah, we took a few nice shots. So nice, because you can see the dawn, the light of dawn come up. You can see that, it was so beautiful lah. But it's all sand, all flat out sand. But I learned the lesson of why you can't delay the bus driver. When he says Maghrib means Maghrib, let's leave at Maghrib. You cannot delay. Even if you think that, going to arrive in Oman, the first day is a rest day anyway. So what, kan? If you come late. Yeah, so what? You can pray Maghrib in the musola. You can pray subuh in the musola. You pray subuh in the sand. MashaAllah. But the bus driver also, that first time somebody actually forced him to stop the bus. Because, somebody who, have someone on fiqh on the bus. It's gonna be, I cannot not stop the bus. I would have fought with him. I would have fought with him. Seriously fought with him. To force him to stop the bus. So inshallah. Right, so now we understand, Right, so it's basically a matter of I'll story of Sayyidina Aisha. Sayyidina Aisha, she so basically because of Sayyidina Aisha, so it's one delay. It's one delay, and they didn't make it to the wells. It's to that extent now. Traveling on land. You delay, and if you delay, you break the entire scheduling. The timing is all messed up. and now they can't get to the wells in time for the next prayer. Because of Sayyidina Aisha's necklace. It's all because of her necklace. So the Sahabas semua all grumbling because Sayyidina Aisha her necklace. Semua complain Sayyidina Abu Bakar. And in the riwayat, they all went to Sayyidina Abu Bakar and say, your daughter and her necklace. And then now we all can't even reach the wells. We can't even take our wudu. How are we going to pray? And the ayat of tayammum came down. Alhamdulillah. By Sayyidina Aisha, the ayat of tayammum came down. And people began to say, oh, Abu Bakr, your family is blessed. Right? Because we got the ruling of tayammum by your daughter and her necklace. And it was the same trip whereby her necklace fell out again. But the second time round, she was too scared to say anything. Dan dah kesian she, mashallah. Sayyidina Aisha is a teenager. Probably at this time around the age of 15, 16. So necklace falls out again. Next time when they rest, it falls out again. She had no idea where her necklace is, and she was too scared to tell anybody that she lost her necklace. Too scared. So she went by herself to go and search for it. And that was when they left her behind. They didn't know that she went out. And she went out to go and search for her necklace, where she had, relieved herself. Search. And then by the time she came back to the caravan, nobody was there. That was the entire story of the ifk. The ifk is when she was slandered. And she stayed there, and then one of the companions came by, and Safwan, I saw her, and then brought her back to Medina, and she was slandered for adultery. But it was only because she was too scared to tell anybody she dropped her necklace second time round. Because everybody was complaining about her the first time round. So she do second time round, everybody get angry with me. MashaAllah. That was the hukum of tayammum. Tayammum came down because of Aisha, right, and her necklace. Right, so it is so it is to be done with لفقد الماء, meaning here فقد الماء here, right? Water is unavailable. So unavailable in the hissan, so the unavailable physically. Unable physically, and that means no water. So literally no water, cannot find. Right, cannot find. Right, cannot find the water, right? Or unavailable by meaning. Okay, meaning, for example, out of fear, right? Or sickness. You can see there, it's all there, right? Sickness, right? Or need, right? So if the water is, if you know that there's water over there, right? In the jungle there's water. There's like a lake in the jungle, but the jungle is filled with robbers. If you know that, right? Or filled with dangerous animals. That people will say, do not enter this jungle. There are tigers in these jungles, for example. There's real fear. There's real fear to get to the water. So does Islam require you to go and get the water? No. Right? Your life is priority. Okay? So even if, let's say, someone will say, oh, there's water up on the mountains, right? But to get there, you have to climb a steep cliff that you're not qualified to climb. You're not able to climb the cliff, but there's water on top there. Right? Are you required to go and get that water? No. Right? So even though you know for sure there's water there, but you fear for your life. You fear for your life about the water. Right? Sickness. Right? So the sickness has prevented water from touching the body. And need. Right? So the water is needed to survive. So if the water is needed to feed or to give drink to human beings or to animals, whereby the lives of these animals are sacred. Right? Animals, so the lives of the animals are sacred, which includes all animals except for swine and rabbit dogs. Only rabbit dogs and swine, right, their lives are not sacred. On top of that, 4 human beings' lives are not sacred, which is the murtad, right, the adulterer, because for them there's a hukum of death on them, right? On the murderer, because hukum of death on them as well. And what's the fourth one? The one who leaves a prayer. Okay, the one who leaves a prayer on purpose, even having been warned many times, again by the ruling of an Islamic government, who has ruled that these people have the capital punishment on them. So because the capital punishment has been declared on them, their lives are not sacred anymore. So you don't have to actually keep water for them, and to use the water for your wudu is required. However, if you have an animal with you, like a goat or a sheep or cat or even a camel that is with you, and that water is needed to preserve the life of that animal, right? Then you are to give the water to the animal and you perform tayammum. Okay, if there is a way by which you know that you can wudu and keep the wudu water and then drink that, right? Like I imagine, if you know how to do it lah, if you're able to do these kind of things, I say you wudu into a container, then you drink the musta'mal water. Can, it's possible. You can do that if you would like to. Okay. If one is certain that water is not available, it is therefore permissible for him to perform dry ablution without searching. Right? So if one is certain that water is not available, you can do tayammum straight away without searching. Otherwise, you must search before you can declare you have no water. Right? So let's say, for example, in my situation when I was going from Tarim to so alhamdulillah, fiqh in applied fiqh. Right? So when I was moving from Tarim to Oman, obviously there is no water beyond where we were, because it was flat ground. So as far as our eye could see, north, south, east and west, all directions, all we saw was sand. So we're not required to actually walk to the end of the horizon, right? And because it's so dangerous, it's dangerous. We're not used to walking in the sand, so we don't know how to walk to the end of the horizon, right? But so from where we could see, we don't know how to even see water. we're not travelers on the sand in the desert land, or Singaporeans or anything. So all we know is the bus got water. Is the water in the bus, but to be able to tell kat situ got water, can't tell anything. Right, so for us, it's not required for us to go and search, because it's dangerous on our life because of our own inexperience, right, of being out in the wilderness. Right, inshallah. Right, so if he's very sure that there is no water around him at all, he can perform tayammum without searching. However, if he knows there's water somewhere but he doesn't know where, right? So for example, you're in Singapore, right? And then your tap, the water got cut off. Okay, the water is cut off from your tap. You're like, kena istinja, tayammum, and then wudu. Where should I take my water from now? Right, so the whole house has no bucket of water, nothing. The whole house. Right, so for us, can we say, okay, tayammum? No, you cannot do that. You have to go to the shop. I go to the shop, like, or if go to your neighbor's house. If the whole block water cut off, right, the whole block got no water, right? Then what are you gonna do? Go to the shop lah. Go to the shop, buy water. I buy water for a reasonable price, and go and buy water and use that water for your istinja and tayammum. Have to do that. You can't just declare tayammum. Right? Same thing in the plane. So I know there are people who do tayammum in the plane. There's no such ruling of tayammum in the plane, because why? The toilet is right there. Why are you doing tayammum in your plane? Right? I mean, even the cubicle is small. Figure out a way of getting water to your feet. Right? Get like a container. Get a spray bottle. Be prepared. And then also, like, what I usually will do is that I will wear the khuf when I'm traveling. So the laws of khuf can be applied while traveling. You don't have to wash your feet, just wipe the feet. Easy. You can take wudu in the plane, no problem. Inshallah can take wudu in the plane. Right, so it's not and there's no also in Shafi fiqh, when we speak about tayammum using sand, it's sand. Okay, it's sand. It's not invisible dust off the walls, which our society tends to have this misconception of Allahu Alam where they have learned it from. But they tend to think that if you were to hit the wall like that, got dust. What dust? What dust? I see sweat. I don't see dust. Right? We will learn in this book later on. The condition of the sand is that when you hit it, there should be like a smoke comes out. So when you kebas, when you hit it, right, there will be this like dust particles appearing in the air. That is the condition of sand. Right, it has to be small particles that can fly in the air. Right, so sand lah. Right, so if it's clay, not clay, because clay is wet and it's like pasty. It has to be dry sand. So beach sand, desert sand, even soil that's dry. You hit it, you see the thing will fly. That is the ruling of tayammum sand. Okay. My teacher, her Mariam, she will keep a sack of sand in her bag. She carries a plastic bag of sand wherever she goes, in case must tayammum, especially when she's traveling. In case must tayammum, right? She will tayammum with the sand. So I don't know where the sand she get it from lah. Tarim everywhere got sand. Just go out get some sand from the ground. In Singapore, that day my sister kena cast. She kena cast on her arm. Remember she say or not? She said she would attend the Mujahid class. But my sister kena she my rollerblading and then fell down and then broke her I think fractured something in her bones. So had a cast on her arm, full cast because of the bone fracture. She asked me hukum. So I said hukum. Already this one I actually attested because she went through my class before. So I said this one is what? Arm. Arm is what kind of limb? Tayammum limb. Tayammum limb, no discussion at all. Wudu the best you can, tayammum the best you can, qada no matter what. Okay? The moment it's tayammum limb, there is no discussion. Wudu the best you can, tayammum the best you can, both must do. And then qada no matter what. Doesn't matter whether you put the cast on hadas or no hadas. Takes up more than what you can take up or not. You all remember all the conditions or not? We took it in Safin Najah. Oh, remember or not? You all know what I'm talking about, right? You know, right? There's some memory from Safin Najah about this thing, about the jabira, right? About the cast, right? Whereby you put it on. Because she was like, but what if I put it on tahara? Regardless, it's a tayammum limb. Regardless, the moment it's tayammum limb, there is no talk about whether you put it on when you were having hadas or not hadas or tahara, or it takes more than what it's supposed to take, or takes less than what it's supposed to take. No discussion at all because tayammum limb. So wudu deficient, tayammum deficient, both deficient, which means qada no matter what. You have to qada your prayers. Then she was like, what? Like the cast is gonna be on my hand for 2 weeks. And I said, you think I'm soon or not? And she was like, just finish menses. So the whole 2 weeks is prayer weeks. It's not even menses weeks. Then the very next day she took off the cast. I am not doing qada for 2 weeks. She took off the cast and she just sling her hand. Inshallah. I mean, up to her lah. She wants to take out the cast. Right, but there's a thing about it. To learn the hukum, the cast. Right. But when she was, I said tayammum, she said, where am I going to get sand? Where? Singapore, my house, Windy Heights. Downstairs is grass lah. There's grass downstairs. But then, where are you going to get sand? Go to the beach lah. So my brother went to East Coast Beach to go and get sand for her. Where else do you get sand in Singapore? To the beach, right? Last time our playgrounds got sand. You go to the playground, get sand. Right, but now, I mean, unless you dig the ground a bit, or you clear the grass a bit, if you do that lah, you clear the grass a bit, you can find some soil somewhere right, on the ground. Okay, alhamdulillah, continuing from there. Okay, bismillah. Naam. And then, فَإِن تَيَقَّنَا فَقَدَ مَاءِ تَيَمَّمَ بِلَا طَلَبٍ. Right, so basically, if somebody has certainty that the water is not available, complete certainty that the water is not available, then he can perform tayammum without searching. However, if he is uncertain or has a suspicion or a doubt of the availability of water in the house, it means there's no certainty of there being no water. He's like, there's possibly water somewhere. Then he must search. Okay, he must search before he declares tayammum. So that's why the thing about the entire aeroplane thing, there's no basis for people who say tayammum in the aeroplane. What basis do you have? The aeroplane has water. Right there in the bathroom, there's water in the bathroom. You know. So if he is uncertain, wa in tawahama. Tawahama means like the word waham, right? It means that it occurred to you. Maybe there's water somewhere. Right? It is stronger, right? Than zon and shak, right? So zon is suspicion. That means you think there's water somewhere, right? Or shak, right? Whereby you doubt that there's water, but you're not sure that there is no water. These are all levels that is not as strong as yaqeen. You don't have yaqeen and that there is no water. You're like, could it be water somewhere? Or I think there's water somewhere. I doubt there's water anywhere, but I'm not sure. You see all these statements? They are all lesser in strength than saying, I'm very sure there's no water anywhere. So the first statement about certainty that water is not available, is like someone saying, I am very sure that there is no water anywhere. Even if I search for it, I will not find a drop. That's called certainty, very sure. Tawahama, I suppose there's water somewhere. There's tawahama. I suppose. I suppose there's water somewhere. You can find. Zon, I think. The word think is weaker than suppose. I think there's water maybe down our neighbors. Or I think there's water somewhere. Right? Shakka, I'm not sure if there is water. I'm not sure if there is water. High chances there's no water anywhere, but I can't say for certain that there's no water. You see the difference in the statements? They have different levels, the statements. So the scholars will say all three. Because it's a matter of all three, whether or not you have to go and search. So if there's any possibility of water anywhere, you must search. That's basically the bottom line. If there is any possibility of water anywhere, you must search. Remember, as I mentioned before, that our fiqh books, we take it in levels. I did not go through any of this with you all in Sifr Najah. I skipped the whole thing. I didn't go through as to what is tawahama, what is zonna, what is shakka. Then must go and search in the haddul ghaws, haddul bu'ad, haddul qurb, and so on. These are all terminologies in fiqh as to how far and how much and how extensive you must search. All this, I don't think I went through with you all in Sifr Najah. It's not in that book. That book speaks about the jabira. A lot about jabira. A lot about the cast and the wound. I spoke about that. This book will have the cast and the wound coming up later on. It will repeat whatever you have learned. So whether or not you revise, you're forced to revise. And it will have the part about how much must I search before I declare no water. Because the definition of tayammum is that the ability to use dry ablution or tayammum or sand when that water is not available. So now comes the question, who declares this? Who declares water is not available? When do I declare it? Can I sit here and on the tap, oh no water, okay tayammum? Can I do that? To what extent must I do before I can declare water not available? To what extent? So same thing in the desert. If I'm walking in the desert, looking around me, water, I know water anywhere. Can I just declare then tayammum? Or what? Must I search? How far must I search? If I see at the end of the horizon, I see some clouds, or I see some birds, if I know how to see birds at the end of the horizon, or if I see, I think there's like a jungle or an oasis over there, must I walk all that distance to get to the water from where I'm at? What if I'm with a caravan? I mean, in the past, what if I'm with a caravan and my caravan is going this way, and I need water, and then the water's all the way over there? Must I go to that area where there's water and do my wudu, or can I tayammum? These are all the questions that will come about as to how do you actually come to conclusion water is not available. You see how it became complicated, from a very simple definition to dry ablution when water is not available. Okay, now comes the question, what does it mean water not available? Who is to say water is not available? On whose judgment water is not available? Get it? Same thing also about disease. Who's to say this disease allows for tayammum? Who's to say it does not allow for tayammum? So again, all these are definitions that the scholars will expand for us. So it's clear when you can tayammum and when you cannot, and it's not for a person to take this lightly, because wudu is your ibadah. Wudu is the asl. Wudu is the foundation, is the original ibadah. So it's only when you're unable to do wudu, then tayammum is looked at. Tayammum is a rukhsa. It is a concession in the religion, but it's not the asl. It's not the origin. So it's not a matter of either or. It's a matter of cannot, so therefore, go to the tayammum. Yes, I hope you have taken that. Tawaham is basically I suppose. Zonna, I think. Shaka, I doubt. I doubt there's water anywhere. Okay, so tawahama, I suppose there could be water somewhere. That means you're on a 70%, on 80%. You know, I'm maybe water somewhere lah. Zonna on a 50%. I think maybe at our neighbor's house. Shaka, I doubt, highly doubt there's water anywhere, but I can't be so sure. So it's on a 20%, but not on 100%. Not available is on 100%. If you're 100% sure no water anywhere, don't have to search. But if you have even doubts, I kind of doubt. I doubt there's water anywhere. But maybe I could be wrong. Maybe someone has water. Maybe. That kind of thing. Okay. فيه فتش في منزله وعند رفقته وتردد قدر حد الغوث. Right. So, if one is uncertain, right, has uncertainty or suspicion or doubt of the availability of water, then he'll search his house, his group, the people whom he's with, including your neighbors, right? And then search the distance as far as the distance of one's voice can reach. Hadd al-ghawth. It's called hadd al-ghawth. The word ghawth in Arabic means help. Okay, the word ghawth in Arabic means help. So if one were to stand there in the desert and say, help! Right, so where will the voice reach? That's the hadd al-ghawth. Because they have no system of measurement. So how do they measure stuff? They measure stuff, but if I were to shout right now, right? If I were to shout, the point where my voice can reach, I have to search till that point. Okay, I have to search till that point. So I don't have to search. I don't have to search to the end of the horizon, because the horizon is beyond my voice. But the voice can probably. Do you have any idea how far your voice can reach? So that's why you got a footnote. Approximately 150 meters. The human voice can reach approximately 150 meters from where you are at. How am I supposed to know how far that is? How far is, if you're in the desert, and you say, how far is 150 meters? Not so sure. Right, one step is about 1 meter. Okay, 1 footstep is about 1 meter, roughly. So 150 steps. So if let's say you are standing in a desert, if you happen to be in the situation that I happen to be in Oman, but I had yakin there's no water. Full yakin. I don't know why I had yakin, but I had yakin there's no water anywhere, because the guy said so. The guy said in an empty quarter there's no water anywhere. Right? You can't find a random well somewhere. Right? But there's water in the bus. So we had to go for the water in the bus. But if let's say I was in that empty quarter, and I have no water on me whatsoever. I'm stranded, no water on me. So I take 150 steps north, come back, or frontwards, come back, to the side, come back, to the back, come back, and to the other side, come back. In all 4 directions, I'm going to walk 150 steps to search for water. Alright? If it's flat land, high chances you can see lah. You can just see. Right, whether there's water or no water. You don't have to walk all the way there. Right? But if let's say it's jungle situation. Right? So if you're, we never know lah when will we be stuck. Which is why for fiqh we don't go through all of these things in the beginner books. Because these are all highly unlikely situations. Could happen lah. Inshallah, it might not happen. But if it happens to somebody, if you're in a jungle, and then you're like, where's the water? Right, so you have to walk at least 150 steps. Right, forward, backwards, left and right. You might come across a stream. You might come across, some indication of water. If you're in the jungles of Malaysia or whatsoever, you're alone by yourself, you don't know where to find water, and you can't get water from the soil or the tree. Right? You must go and find a river to get the water. Right? So you are to walk that distance. to search before you can declare no water. Right? Before you can declare no water. Right? The scholars have estimated this distance to be as far as the distance traveled by a release arrow. Okay lah. People of our zaman, how far do arrows travel? Arrow travel? No clue. So in the past, they had arrows and most arrows with them. They will shoot the arrow. Shoot the arrow, wherever it reached, they must search until there. That's how they get a good gauge lah. We are like no clue about any of these things. We bring our mineral bottle wherever we go. Because we are people of the modern day. No clue of all these things. If water is not discovered, then it is permissible to perform dry ablution. You must search the level of ghawth. Okay, a ghawth is when you are not entirely sure if there is water anywhere, nor you are entirely sure there is no water anywhere. Okay, so ghawth is you have no surety on either side. You're not sure if there is water, you're not sure if there is no water. You're in between on different levels of doubts, yes, but you're in between nonetheless. Certainty is that you know that there is water. Right? So to know that there is water, you have to search for within close limits. Right? Haddul qurb. Haddul qurb meaning not too far for you to walk. That is qurb. Not too far for you to walk, and the scholars say this is approximately 6,000 steps. Okay? Not too far. It's not too far to walk. Right? So for example, if I'm in a desert and I know within the Haddul Qurb, right, if I walk for like 1,000 steps, I will reach a hotel. I know for sure with certainty that there's a shop down the road or a hotel down the road or housing down the road whereby there should be water there. Right? I must search this distance if I am very certain, means completely certain that there is water. So it's not this level whereby you are on waham or zon or shak. You're not on waham or so you see the extremities, right? So you see, let me just draw it up for you all. Okay, so on one extreme, right, sure, no water. Right, so sure, you're very sure no water, no need to search. Right, on the other extreme, sure, got water. So Singaporean lah, sure got water. Okay, must search. How far? 6,000 steps. Must search. Wajib to search. 6,000 steps. If you're very sure in this particular direction, got water. You're very sure. So for example, if you're in the desert and then like a caravan goes past you, and you're like, do you have water? And they say, no, we have no water, but up ahead there's a town, and there's water up ahead. So are you very sure? Yes, we go there all the time. And wajib for you, but it's beyond 150 meters. It's really like about maybe about 6 kilometers up ahead. And then he said, nonetheless, you're very sure that there is water up ahead. You have to go up ahead. Okay, anywhere in between, right, between the two ends of being sure no water or sure got water, is all the supposition, suppose, or I think, or I don't know, or I'm not so sure, or I doubt, or I whatever. All the uncertainty, you are given 150 meters to search in all directions, up, down, left, right, because you're not sure. Because you're not sure, you don't know where the water is. So you search up, down, left, right. For what you are sure of, you must go in that direction. You're very sure in the direction there's water. So you must go in the direction, a maximum of 6 kilometers. No, not 6 kilometers, 6,000 steps. Okay, if someone says, okay, you walk further down about 5 hours of walk, you can find water. 5 hours of walk, right? Way past 6,000 kilometers, or there's way past 6,000 steps. 6,000 steps, you're way past. Must you go and search? No. Are you very sure there's water over there? Yes, but it's too far. It's too far. The Sharia does not require you to go and search that far. And someone says, of course, I mean, technically, wherever you're at, there's water somewhere eventually, can? And no matter where you're at, there's water somewhere eventually. It's a matter whether it's near enough or too far. Okay? The other condition is also the prayer time. So you say, I only have half an hour left of subuh. I can't walk all the way there and get the water to pray subuh. Not possible. I just pray wherever I'm at. So again, prayer timing also matters about the situation. Interesting lah, inshallah, because of the hukum of people who travel on the land. And we never know when this comes in useful. You just never know. when Allahu Alam, someone might get stranded, or when, you know, people are, na'uzubillah, right, but like get an accident, get lost, unable to find civilization, don't know what to do with yourself, right, and then you have to pray, and you know how to take wudu, right, so if it's beyond the close limits, you can perform tayammum, right. It's preferred to perform prayer so that water will become available at the end of the prayer timing without missing the prayer time, okay, without missing the prayer time. Okay, let me just stop here for today. Any questions, tak? Oh, any questions? Yes. There is faqdu tahirin. It's called faqdu tahirin. Right? And in that situation, you pray as you are and you must qada. Once you find water or sand. That situation can happen if you are on a clean rock somewhere. Right, so if you're on a clean surface of a rock, hard rock, there's no sand. You try and hit the rock, there's no sand, and you can't find water for the life of you. You can't find water. Then faqdu tahirin, or on a place whereby it's snow all around and there's no way for you to melt the snow. Impossible for you to melt the snow. Then again, faqdu tahirin, because if you're in deep snow, you can't get water nor sand. Even though snow is water, but snow is ice, right? So you can't possibly make it into wudu. it's you can't melt it. You can't melt it. Okay, so faqdu tahirin, you pray however you are, and then you can qada. Yes. Okay, for non-Muslims who are peaceful with Muslims, their lives are sacred. Their lives are sacred. It is only kafir al-harbi, right? Meaning the kafir who is at war with the Muslims. The lives are not sacred. But then again, so if you're traveling with somebody who's an enemy of the Muslims and they're at war with the Muslims, then you don't give them your water. You use your water for wudu. Even though they say, I'm so thirsty, you don't give them your water. You keep your water for wudu, unless they taubat lah. They taubat and they want to become a Muslim. Yes. So if you're traveling and there is, if you're traveling and you come across a pig that is dying of thirst, you don't give the pig your water. You actually use it for wudu. The life of the pig is not sacred in Islamic law lah. So even if you're not under Islamic law, you know the law, right? But it's just that the thing about Islamic government is that to hukum a person as someone who has murtad, or to hukum a person as someone who has left the prayer, requires knowledge before you can hukum that. It is adultery, same thing also lah. There's a full sharia around it, so it's a matter of being able to hukum them. Yeah, who's so on that they I mean, unless, how would you know someone's an adulterer unless you I don't know. You're like, you're committing adultery. I don't know. I mean, strange lah. Again, yeah. So usually is the qadi that has to hukum kan, and before they know it lah. But dog, rabbit dog, pig, kafir harbi, a kafir at war. Which is, I don't know when you meet a kafir at war with the Muslims. Right? When you meet someone like that, right? A murtad, possible. You might meet a murtad. But again, a murtad in an Islamic state. The capital punishment is on that person. A murtad in a non-Islamic state is not capital punishment. If an open murtad. An open murtad. So because that person is a fitna society. So if someone goes around proclaiming their disbelief in Islam and then slandering Islam, that person has capital punishment on them, but only to be given, the hukum is given by the qadi, by the judge, which is some in our time doesn't really exist lah. Mm. Due can. Due is air mutlak. You rub on the on the grass. You rub a lot lah. It will flow. It will flow. You rub enough on the grass. You take the leaf and you rub on your face. Impossible lah. But dew is one of the air mutlak. Dew is one of the air mutlak. I also wonder like, how are you gonna use dew for tayammum? For wudu ni? Maybe one day Allah will show us lah. Go and use your dew. You're like, okay, ask so many questions, right? So Allah put it in your face. Go and use the dew now. Try use the dew. But I've never tried. I've never done it before in my life lah. But I know you can use dew. I also know you can use snow and hail, but I don't know how. Unless you can heat up the snow and the hail, because hail and snow are also by air mutlak. They're all air mutlak. Right. But I'm not sure how you would do it. Okay lah, mashallah. Okay, any other questions? Anyone has any questions? No questions. Okay, so that for today, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.